I have a devotional thought for January 4th, 2022. We read in Psalm chapter 4 today. David was writing about how people were making false accusations about him and saying things about him that weren't true and lying about him. Certainly a frustration. If you've ever had that happen to you, and I've certainly had it happen to me, it's frustration, and it makes you angry as it continues, and sometimes it doesn't stop because lies and that deception can so often profit people. But he goes on in verse 4. He says this: Don't sin by letting anger control you. Think about it overnight and remain silent. This kind of goes hand in hand with talking about Cain yesterday and that sin crouching at your door. But here is another way that we allow ourselves to be controlled by something other than God. Where how often have we in anger said something or done something that if we would have thought about it for 10 seconds, let alone thinking about it overnight, would we have not said? I can think of so many things and so many times where I've said things or I've done things in anger that later on that day I apologized for. When, after I thought about them, I knew that my reaction wasn't the right reaction. And so here, David's advice, as he's trying to get through being angry himself, is let me think about it overnight. Let me sleep on it. And in doing so, it causes him to interact in a more loving and gracious and graceful way, and allows him to see more of what God is doing, the truth of what God is doing in the midst of the lies that are being told about him. And so I just encourage you right now, if you having a difficult time with somebody, if there's somebody that maybe somebody is being deceitful, maybe there's lies being told about you, maybe there's lies being told to you, maybe it's just something somebody does, maybe it's not wrong, it's just something somebody does or is just kind of rubs you the wrong way and makes you upset and you're angry. And I would just encourage you to not let that anger control you, as David says here. To take some time to step away, because whenever we think about it, I tell my son, count to 10. If you want to say something to somebody out of anger, count to 10. And then ask yourself at the end of 10 if it's still a good idea to say it. Usually it doesn't take that long for us to figure out that what we're going to say or do isn't the right thing. When we let anger control us, we're not using any thought in it. So when we let ourselves think about it, when we just take a moment to consider it, it allows us to act in a more loving and Christ-like way. And so I'd ask you, well, what are you allowing to control you? What does somebody do to you or say to you that just sets you off at a moment's notice and makes you say and do things that you shouldn't say or do? What do you allow to control you that you should give more time to thinking about it so that you can be in control of it rather than it being in control of you?